Today's news headline is Devastating Human Rights and Humanitarian Crisis in Myanmar. Details of the news. Myanmar's military junta is stepping up its desperate offensive against the villagers that have fallen into the hands of opposite groups. Beheadings, gangs rape, and torture are also going on there in Myanmar. The United Nations Independent Human Rights Investigation Agency in Myanmar has given this information in a new report. Former U.S. Congressman Thomas Andrews, who is the UN Special Envoy for Human Rights in Myanmar, said in a report to the UN General Assembly on Friday of 22nd November that junta forces have used sophisticated weapons against civilians in response to military defeats and loss of territory, trying to destroy cities that are not under their control. Thomas Andrews has called Myanmar an invisible crisis as the world's attention is focused elsewhere. He said governments that are actively supporting and providing arms, supplies and jet fuel to the junta are enabling increasing atrocities against the people of Myanmar. However, Andrews did not name any NOC government supplying weapons to Myanmar. He praised Singapore for halting arms transfers and said U.S. sanctions on state-owned banks controlled by the junta and disrupted military supply chains. He called on all countries to address Myanmar's devastating human rights and humanitarian crisis by halting the flow of arms to the junta government, increasing humanitarian aid to millions in need, and supporting efforts to hold perpetrators accountable for human rights abuses. In February 2021, the Myanmar military overthrew the elected government of Aung San Suu Kyi. The country is now reeling from the violence that began brutally suppressing non-violent protests. As a result, armed resistance and fighting broke out across the country. The military is also carrying out airstrikes to counter growing opposition and secure territory. Armed guerrilla groups known as the People's Defense Forces are active in much of Myanmar alongside ethnic armed groups fighting to restore democracy. The junta government is on the defensive against all of them.